You have your breakfast yet? It's 8:20 on a Thursday morning. I hope you have, because I'm getting to the story. I saved it over the last 2+ hours because I didn't want to do this at 6 a.m. I didn't want to do it prime time, breakfast time at 7 a.m., John. I figured 8 a.m. was the best time to do it.
Is there a good time?
Well, fair, very fair.
We Americans grace. Anybody's likely to be eating or drinking at any moment, so we might as well do the story.
That's true. We are an obese nation.
With a little caveat of heads up.
Heads up, it's coming. All right, here we go. Well, we've got some of the details, the allegations when it comes to this 21-year-old Jace Hansen, who is alleged to have had contaminated food at this Hereford house in Leawood. So let's roll the tape. KCTV5's Angie Ricono.
Jace Christian Hansen was confronted about it and admitted it. A probable cause statement says he posted videos of what he was doing to customers' food. These communications took place on apps like Grindr and Snapchat. Hansen said he didn't like his job. The contamination involves him rubbing his body parts, many different body parts, on food that was later served to customers. He also admitted to urination in food. The affidavit reveals the FBI was tipped off about this disgusting behavior and traced the cell phone to Hansen's car. That car was parked right outside the restaurant. Hansen admits he contaminated food more than 20 times in 3 weeks. He's in custody on a $100,000 bond. Now, the judge also set a condition on that bond that if he's released, he's not allowed to work at any place that serves food.
I would throw the book at this scumbag. I mean, if somebody tried to poison you, right? You could do serious damage to somebody. And this guy was peeing in the pickle juice. He was rubbing salmon against his berries. I mean, he was doing...
There's a teabag joke in here somewhere.
There is.
But I don't know.
Yeah, there is somewhere in here. This is just heinous. Absolutely heinous. And they caught him, according to Angie Ricono, talking about this on Grindr, which is a gay dating app. I mean, and he was posting these videos on social media, Snapchat and places like that. I mean, I've got a couple of questions. First off, how lacking is the kitchen in just self-awareness when you got a guy rubbing his junk up against the food? How is that working? Is he just dropping them out in the kitchen and then rubbing the food against it? Is he taking the food to the bathroom, in which case no one's noticing that? How I've never worked in a kitchen at a restaurant, but how does that happen without anybody noticing?
I'd do a pay-per-view with this kid working with Chef Ramsay, Gordon Ramsay on Hell's Kitchen. See how long he lasts.
I would like to see that as well.
Yeah.
There's just so many questions that I have. And I know that there are a lot of people who have worked in the industry, whether you've owned restaurants, whether you've worked in the kitchen, and those are the people that I want to hear from on this, because I genuinely don't understand how this can go on at least 20 times over 3 weeks before anybody notices. 913-408-7957 is our studio line here on KCMO. I know many of you have worked in or owned restaurants, and honestly, this is one of my biggest fears when it comes to eating out. I don't know who's back there. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know if they're spitting in the food. It's one of the reasons I've been told by restaurateurs to never send the food back, because it'll piss somebody off. God knows what they'll do to your food, and you may not like what happens back there. I've been told that before. So unless it's just so bad or it's unhealthy. I don't know, you ask for a burger medium and it comes out totally rare.
Chicken,
yeah, exactly.
Like that, sure.
Then I'll take my chance of sending the food back. But it's this isn't salty enough for me. No, I'll just kind of eat the food and move on. Food is not that important in my life where I'm going to risk some guy spitting in the food or peeing in the juice or, rubbing my food up against his crotch. I'm just not risking that. Maybe you are, John, with your filet of fishes, but I'm not risking that, man.
No, you never send a filet back. No, I think the thing that's maybe most alarming is the word I guess I'll use is the restaurant that it happened at. It's one thing for like a national chain.
Yeah.
Where you got some low life doing it.
Yeah.
But I would expect to be a few more eyeballs on plates heading out the door at that restaurant.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're talking about a primo location there in Hereford House in Leawood. This is not, your run-of-the-mill McDonald's or something like that. This is primo eateries right here in Johnson County where it's happening. And he's peeing all over the place and he's, rubbing stuff against them. It's just gross, absolutely gross. But I will say, and I hate to say it, but I think this is more common than we think. Because when this story broke a couple of weeks ago, or whatever it was last week, I was getting a haircut. My barber, great guy. But he went through a rough patch in his life when he was, a young man, a lot of drug problems, a lot of issues, lived in a small town in Missouri. And he spent time in the back of a kitchen in his local watering hole. And he told me that there was one guy who would come in, multiple times a week to eat and drink. And he was just a jerk to the waitresses, a total bum, always sending the food back. And he told me that every time this guy would send food back, he'd do something similar. I'm not kidding. It's what he told me. He said the biggest thing that he would do, the most common thing he would do. What are you laughing at in there, Mark? What's so funny to you?
I don't know.
All right. Well, he said the biggest thing he would do, guy would always order a burger. And he'd take the top of the bun and he'd wipe it between his butt cheeks. That's what he said he'd do.
Where's that place? Remind me not to go there?
No. I mean, listen, he said he was struggling, a young guy, drug problems, all messed up. This guy was I'm not defending what he did at all, but he said this guy was a, jerk to everybody, and that's what he would do. And it's just disgusting, absolutely disgusting. But I hate to say it, I wonder if this is more common than most of us who eat out think it is. Oh, some of you on the text line are saying this is why, you've worked in the food industry and you never eat out. That's scary, man. That's scary. After this kid, not a kid, he's 21 years old, but he got busted finally, and he's sitting in there on a $100,000 bond after he was alleged to have been contaminating food over a 3-week period at least 20 times, working at the Hereford House there in Leawood. Just absolutely disgusting what he was doing. The affidavit is not all that long. It's all of 3 pages. And here are some of the details. There were thumbnails for videos posted on thisvid.com from the username Vandalizer. The images depict a male urinating in food contained in restaurant-style bins, pressing food items against his man part and his
junk.
Yeah, buttocks, and using their feet to touch food items. Some of the titles of the videos included the following: peeing in the serving sauce again, peeing on restaurant dessert, love making people taste my sweaty bleep and toes, spitting on everything in restaurant part 2. Those were some of the videos that were being uploaded to this website. Then detectives contacted a manager at Hereford House to relay concerns. The manager called the head chef to the front, and he was provided thumbnail photographs of videos that had been posted to thisvid.com, depicting this subject urinating in food and placing food items on his private parts, butt or feet. The head chef quickly recognized some of the thumbnails from his restaurant. And then it was confirmed to be this punk Hansen, who is now sitting in jail, waiting a $100,000 bond. Oh, gosh. Disturbing beyond all get out. But also, I don't want to say it's common. That's not fair. But I don't think it's as uncommon as we want to believe it is. And that's what's disturbing to me. I listen, it is difficult right now to get help in restaurants. Very difficult. cost of everything's going up, including labor. And my fear would be, in talking to people in the industry, that they might be lowering their standards for certain individuals working in the kitchen, and that may lead to scumbags like this, who are either bored, hate their job, and, God forbid, might be contaminating food. Because if it's happening at Hereford House, what's happening in other places, John?
Well, I think to your point, he's not the first, It
won't be the last.
Well, no, I think the part about, I don't know if it's about lowering standards when it comes to it, but it certainly hurts when you're looking to have one extra person in, an extra set of eyes.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't have the assistant manager in.
Yeah.
Right? That kind of thing. The oversight may be where we're getting hurt.
Yeah, that's true.
More than the quality of the entry-level idiot.
Yeah, that's fair. That's very fair. You're right about that.